Have you ever had food poisoning? It's not fun, is it? I've had food poisoning. I remember actually years ago taking our youth group from Central to Atlanta, Georgia. We used to go every year to watch the Braves play baseball. And this one year, the representative with the Braves that took care of our seats really upgraded us and gave us tickets in what he called the all-you-can-eat seat section. And by golly, I was going to make sure we got our money's worth. And it was only about 100 degrees in Atlanta on that day that we sat there in our all-you-can-eat seats and ate hot dogs and hamburgers and Coca-Cola and peanuts and whatever else that they had to offer as much as we could. I remember going back to the hotel that night and knowing I was sick. And I wasn't going to get better until some of that food left my body. And as gross as that sounds, you also know what I'm talking about because you've probably been there. Sometimes you feel so sick and you just need that sickness out of your body. I remember about 8 years ago now that I had a MRSA infection in my knee, and it was making me very, very sick. And I didn't really know what was wrong with me, but I knew that I needed that sickness out of my body. And when the doctors figured out what was wrong and they did surgery and cleaned the infection out of my knee, I remember waking up out of surgery and thinking, man, my knee hurts really bad from that surgery, but I'm not sick anymore. I felt so much better because that sickness had been purged from my body and it wasn't a part of me anymore, and I knew I was going to recover. You know, in Psalm chapter 51, David felt a sickness. He felt something eating away at him, killing him, and he knew that he had to get it out of his body. In fact, Psalm 51 is a psalm that David wrote after Nathan the prophet had approached him and confronted David with his sin of taking the wife of Uriah, Bathsheba, and not just taking her, but having Uriah killed so that he could be with her and so that he could hide his sin of adultery that created a child with Bathsheba. And so when confronted with that sin, David felt the weight of that sin. He felt that sickness in his body that was crushing him, that was killing him. And it inspired him to write these words that we find in Psalm chapter 51. Verse 1 says, "Have mercy on me, O God, according to your steadfast love, according to your abundant mercy. Blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sins. For I know my transgression, and my sin is ever before me. Against you and you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight, so that you may be justified in your words and blameless in your judgment." In verse 7, he says, "Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow." Verse 9, "Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquities." Verse 10, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." He wants God to create a clean heart in him, but he understands in order for that clean heart to be created, a purge has to happen first. He has to be purged from his sins, and he asks God to purge him with hyssop. And you know, hyssop, I read a little bit about hyssop. Hyssop had a lot of uses. It could be used as an antiseptic. It could be used as a cough suppressant, but it was also used as a purgation or a laxative. In fact, the ancient Egyptian historian Cameron of Alexandria wrote that a lot of times priests would purge themselves with hyssop to purify themselves. And so this was something that people would do. They would use hyssop as a laxative to purge themselves when they were feeling kind of sick and they needed that sickness to leave their body. And David says to God, "Purge me with hyssop. Get this sin out of me." You know, getting an infection, getting a sickness out of your body is not always a pleasant experience. When I had the infection in my knee, if I did not get that taken out of me, it could have killed me. And the surgery on my knee to get that out was not pleasant. If you've had food poisoning, getting sickness out of your body is not a pleasant experience, but it's a necessary one so it doesn't make you sicker. When he told God, "Purge me with hyssop," he wasn't asking for a pleasant experience, but he understood it was a necessary experience to get him to be able to create a clean heart. We have a lot of things in our life right now that we really wish we could get out of. There's a lot of things that 2020 has created that has made our life tougher that we wish we could purge. But really the most important thing that we need to purge out of our life is our sin, is our selfishness, is the things that separate us from God. And only God can really purge that out of our life. We want God to create in us a clean heart, and God wants to create in us a clean heart. But first, we have to allow him to purge the sin that is infecting our life and affecting our souls, and purge that so it doesn't eventually kill our life and kill our souls. It's not always a pleasant experience. Sometimes it means ending relationships. Sometimes it means ending hobbies and finding new friends and finding new ways to occupy our time. Sometimes it means that we have to break a chemical addiction, and that can be so hard. There's so many things about purging sin out of our life that can be so difficult. But that's why you have a church family. That's why you have us. We're here to help you. We're here to pray for you. And we're here to lean on each other. We all have sin in our life. We all have things in our life that we need to purge. And we're so thankful that we have each other to lean on in those difficult times. When I had to purge the sickness out of my body, I'm so thankful that the doctors were there to be able to get the MRSA out of me so I didn't die. But I'm also very thankful for brothers and sisters who have given me a shoulder to lean on when I've had to purge things out of my soul and out of my spiritual life. And they've been there to help me through the way. We're all here for each other. Take advantage of it. Purge yourself with hyssop. Purge that sickness out of your life, that sin out of your life, so that God can create in you a clean heart. I love you all. Have a great day.